So if he fought him, we would have got some real answers. And that would be an interesting fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel with a big news. Joe Rogan has made a huge call after Jake vs. Tank was canceled, and Ryan is now set to replace him. Rogan mentioned that Ryan cannot be the replacement due to some major factors, which we will discuss later in this video. So whenever a big fight comes, either in the form of a real boxing matchup or an exhibition bout, fans show interest in it. At the end of the day, the competition of the matchup matters more than the nature of the fight. The same was happening with the fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. It was expected to be a great fight, given the skills and styles both fighters bring into the ring. However, a recently happened unwanted incident involving Gervonta has pushed this fight into cancellation, creating concern among fans who were highly excited and looking forward to this clash.
No, hands on women I just can't agree with. It's just terrible, and it's so bad for boxing when a fighter is being accused of putting, I mean, that's my personal opinion on men going anywhere near women in an aggressive manner. It's just wrong.
This situation has sparked major controversy, casting doubt on Tank's boxing commitments and raising questions about the future of him as a boxer. Due to this, the boxing community has suggested a replacement for Tank Davis. They urge Jake Paul to go against Ryan Garcia instead. Team Jake has also offered big money to Garcia, hoping he will step in as the replacement opponent for the highly anticipated matchup.
We don't know. It could be with, you know, it could be against Jake Paul. We don't know.
However, the major thing to know is how top boxing personalities reacted to this replacement offer. Some believe Ryan versus Jake is a good fight, while others insist some other name should face Jake for a more exciting matchup. First of all, Oscar De La Hoya has disagreed with the idea of Ryan coming as a replacement for Tank Davis. Though he did not doubt the intensity of this fight, he underlined other issues due to which this matchup cannot be finalized. He said that negotiations are really complicated since both fighters compete for distinct platforms. Additionally, their business relationships with other companies may suffer if this fight breaks out, which might lead to problems with their present broadcast and promotional arrangements. It is therefore unlikely, in my opinion, that Ryan Garcia will take Tank Davis's position in the fight on November 14th.
Jake Paul and Ryan Garcia. Let me just tell you why this fight is not going to happen. Ryan Garcia fights for DAZN, and Jake Paul fights on Netflix. I mean, that's pretty much the bottom line. Golden Boy has a contract with DAZN. Ryan Garcia has a contract with Golden Boy. And that's just the way it is. I mean, this is business.
On the other hand, Showbiz the Adult went against De La Hoya, stressing that Jake does not want to lose his deal with Netflix. For that, he requires a bigger name than Gervonta Davis, because going against a lesser name can cost him a big loss. So in my opinion, Ryan should seriously think about this fight, because fighting Jake can give Garcia the recognition he has never thought of getting in his life. And if he wins this potential clash, his career would be skyrocketing, bringing him massive fame, fan attention, and major opportunities in the boxing business.
Replace fighters in even shorter time. Must I mention Andy Ruiz knocking out Anthony A.J. Joshua after replacing Big Baby Miller in only a week's time? Now, why would Jake Paul, why would Most Valuable Promotions offer a replacement fight to Ryan Garcia and not a lesser opponent? Because they have a deal with Netflix. Netflix is a big deal. They don't want to lose that deal. So the name has to be on par with Gervonta Tank Davis or they lose that deal. Ryan Garcia is the perfect replacement. And has Ryan been training?
Carl Froch also stated that Ryan Garcia versus Jake Paul is not a bad deal. He highlighted all the positive aspects involved in this fight by stressing that Ryan is a social media star too, which makes the matchup very marketable. But if this fight happens, which there are very good chances as Team Jake is looking to replace Gervonta, Jake will be going to have significant advantages over Garcia as well, just like he would have had against Gervonta. Froch argued that Jake's size, strength, and recent experience against much bigger names could give him a strong edge in this potential showdown.
Enough to be jumping in with Jake Paul, but that's a fight that potentially could happen. Garcia is a massive name. He's a big he's a social media star. He's a big public figure. Loads of followers on Instagram and social. I mean, his Instagram's over 1 million, I'm sure it is. He's just a big name, good looking kid, great fighter, fast hands, and he's quite controversial as well. So that'd be a good fight, but the weight disparity, again, it's too big. So for me, when I say it'd be a good fight, it'd be interesting to see how Ryan Garcia would go in against Jake Paul, but to be honest, Jake Paul's far too big for him.
Most important of all, Stephen A. Smith liked the idea of a Jake versus Garcia fight. Even though Jake versus Tank would have been more intriguing, he acknowledged that this battle nonetheless has all the makings of a spectacle. He also praised Jake for choosing to find a substitute on his own because he noticed that fights took too long to be arranged through promoters. Given the limited amount of time available, Jake's ability to manage the substitute opponent is very admirable. This is a novel idea in boxing that makes sense because it allows for any fight to happen without needless obstacles or protracted delays.
I love the fact that he has managed to take stuff away from boxing promoters and has shown the boxing world that you don't have to be held hostage by promoters in order to get fights and make some money. I think that's a beautiful, beautiful thing for the sport of boxing because promoters have messed up the sport of boxing. They hold up fights. They don't give us the fights we want to see when we want to see them. We got to wait years for it, etc., etc.
Besides Steven, it is equally crucial to note that Ryan Garcia himself has made a huge statement. He highlighted that though he is taking his time to think about this fight because he has to take care of each and every factor involved in going against Jake, he is very sure that if he goes against him, he can beat him. I saw him fighting against Mike Tyson, so expect me to knock him out if he fights in the same way with me. Garcia overall said the bout with Jake would be huge, but he needs some adjustments before accepting the fight.
I mean, if Jake fights the way he fought with Mike, I generally believe I would knock him out within 4 or 5 rounds.
Moving forward, Ryan Garcia claiming a knockout victory against Jake Paul in their potential clash is not shocking at all, because the truth is he was already deep in preparation for his comeback fight. Long before talk of Jake becoming his opponent surfaced, Garcia had returned to camp with a fresh mindset, determined to prove himself again. His comeback effort has been centered on intensity, discipline, and regaining his sharpness inside the ring. He has stayed in shape, maintained his conditioning, and pushed himself with serious focus to evolve into a stronger version of the fighter people have always expected him to be. As we already know, Garcia has repeatedly talked about wanting a big comeback moment. Not just a simple return, but a statement performance that reminds the boxing world of his power, speed, and star presence. The timing of this situation works extremely well for him because if the opportunity for Jake Paul comes next, he is already mentally and physically in the right state to take on such a high-profile challenge. Garcia saw him perform against Mike Tyson and noticed the flaws he believes he can exploit. From Garcia's perspective, a knockout is not a prediction made out of hype, but something he genuinely feels capable of delivering because of how sharp and motivated he is right now. Overall, he is striving for a return that will propel his career to new heights, and a sensational victory over Jake Paul might just do that. Garcia may really knock him out if this fight is decided because of the momentum he has gained since returning to training, as well as his desire to silence his detractors and win by a significant margin. His targeted comeback is a perfect fit for something that Jake offers: a large stage, significant attention, and an opportunity to make clear his continued danger. On the other hand, when it comes to Jake Paul, he had already been in intense training for Gervonta Tank Davis because he fully understood the hype surrounding that fight and how important it was for his career. He was aware that the largest task he has ever faced would be going up against someone like Gervonta, a seasoned fighter with amazing knockout power. He was therefore making every effort to ensure that he would win. Jake made it obvious to everyone that he was meticulous in his preparation, paying close attention to every little detail. From his mindset to his physical shape, he wanted to be the best version of himself for that massive showdown. Jake has always believed that opportunities like this do not come often, and that he must push himself beyond limits to earn respect in the boxing world. That is exactly why his camp had been so intense and serious from the start. He wanted to show that he belonged at this level, and that he could go toe-to-toe with elite fighters. The stakes were incredibly high. A win against Gervonta would silence critics, elevate his status, and change the entire perception fans and analysts have of him. Jake felt the pressure, but he embraced it with full determination, knowing that this fight could define his legacy. Furthermore, even though the matchup has fallen into cancellation due to unexpected circumstances, the work he has put in so far has prepared him for whatever comes next. Jake is still ready, still focused, and still chasing greatness. Whether Ryan remains the potential opponent or a new name steps in, he is already in the right shape and mentality to continue proving that he is not just a social media star, but a true fighter willing to take on the toughest challenges. However, this is not the first time an opponent has been set to be replaced just before a major boxing bout. History has shown many examples where sudden changes happen due to injuries, legal issues, or personal circumstances. One famous case was when Andy Ruiz Jr. stepped in for Jarrell Miller to fight Anthony Joshua on short notice, which completely changed the outcome of the event and led to one of the biggest upsets in boxing history.
Well, you can see it. I mean, as you say, physically, he's just an amazing specimen, but you can see it mentally in the camp today. It's cooler in the gym today than normal, and I think you can see that he's so focused, and I think that's the big thing that's come out of this, that psychologically and mentally he said straight away the show must go on, and he's had to wait nigh on 8 days for that new opponent to be announced, and it wasn't until yesterday we knew about Andy Ruiz, who's a very dangerous opponent, frankly.
Another example is when Deontay Wilder ended up facing Tyson Fury after multiple opponent switches earlier in his career, which eventually created one of the most exciting heavyweight rivalries of modern times. Moreover, even legends like Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson experienced late changes in opponents throughout their careers because boxing is unpredictable, and last-minute adjustments are sometimes unavoidable. Even though these adjustments can present difficulties, they frequently result in novel plots, exciting new developments, and surprising outcomes that fans will remember for years to come. Because of this, the present scenario in which Jake Paul would face replace Ryan Garcia rather than Gervonta Davis is still very fascinating. A replacement bout provides a new dimension that carries on the great tradition of boxing's dramatic unpredictability without lessening the significance or thrill. In short, the boxing community is showing mixed reactions to this news. The haters of Tank are happy to see him not fighting Jake Paul, while the fans who were waiting for this fight are really disappointed. However, Ryan Garcia, who is still on hold as a replacement, has been widely accepted by the boxing community. Some are even marking that it would generate more revenue than the Tank versus Jake fight because many believe Garcia brings more excitement and real boxing credibility. The other thing the boxing world is concerned about is the date of this fight. Will it happen on the same date previously planned, or will we see a change in the schedule that could impact how fans and promoters react next? In the end, what do you think about this replacement? Do you agree with the idea of Ryan coming in as a replacement, or do you have some other name in mind who should go against Jake in the ring instead? Drop your thoughts in the comments section because your opinions matter too, and we want to hear what the boxing community truly feels. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, as your support means a lot to us and motivates us to bring you the latest boxing content. Stay tuned for further updates and breaking news from the boxing world, because big things are coming.